welcome back to the Style and Beauty Doctor on YouTube, and in today's video, bam, we are going to be talking about the latest launch from Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Norvina palette. Now, I've seen pictures of this palette online. I have not opened up the packaging of the palette yet to look at it in person. We're going to do that together, kind of, sort of, by the magic of editing and posting on YouTube. So if you want to know whether or not you need to go ahead and get this palette, keep watching. So I'm going to be doing my best to compare this palette to other Anastasia palettes, but I don't have a bunch of previous Anastasia palettes in my possession. Over the years, from being on Anastasia PR lists, whether it's directly through the brand or through some sort of agency, I've accumulated a lot of palettes, but I, within the last, I'd say maybe 2 to 3 years, I don't want to keep a lot of makeup. I don't want a big makeup stash because it makes me not see what I have, and then that causes overspending. You can check that out in like a lot of my previous videos where I did a 40-pound purge in my stash and, showed you what my stash looks like now and, yada yada. So I tend to, when I get them in for PR, I'll review them. If it's something that, and a lot of these palettes wind up being good, it's just that, some color schemes aren't, color schemes that I need to have in my possession, because I'm not going to use them really. So I tend to, once I've reviewed them, swatched them, used them, I tend to give them to family members and friends who are very grateful to get them. But I do have a few so we can compare, but let's look into this Norvina palette. Oh! Alright. So this came with the primer, but I opened up the primer to use for the eye look that I did yesterday, so make sure you check that out. Also, I normally post early, like I like to post like around 10 o'clock on a Sunday. I'm a little backed up, and this is being filmed and edited on the same day, hopefully. Oh. It's like one of those dolls, you open it up and there's another packaging and more packaging. Anyway. Alright, so that's what the packaging looks like. Now, off the bat, I don't like palettes that are big like this. It just makes it, like, I like to hold a palette in my hand. I mean, I know I could put it down, but I like to hold a palette in my hand while I'm doing my makeup, so just right off the bat, this is, like, too big for me. And then, on first glance, the colors seem a bit, like, random. But I'm sure if I look at it closely, give it a second, I can kind of see where there are, like, color schemes, color stories within, like, the rows. But for now, just looking at it, it's like, wow, this is quite a random array of colors. So, yeah, if you look at it row by row, it'll make more sense, like, the colors that go together. Now, obviously, you can, pick and choose from wherever. But just looking at it straight on, it just feels like, which color should I choose? Which color should I choose? And then there's a warning about shades not being able to be used in the, that weren't intended to be used around the immediate eye area. So, good to note that this is a palette and not an eyeshadow palette, because not every shade in there is recommended to be used around the eye. And let's see. And they listed A2, A3, A5, B1, B3, B4, B5, C4, C5, D2, D3, D4, D5, E1, E2, E4, and E5. If you have a very sensitive eye, you might want to take heed. And if you're sitting here like, well, why would they put so many shades in a palette that you can't use around your eyes? So this is a professional palette, and makeup artists use color, in many places on the face, not just on the eyes. So that's my simplest explanation. Now, if you want some of the brighter colors or the matte colors to show up really well, this eye primer actually is pretty bomb. I don't use it for every eye look because it is such a bright white color that under some colors it can look a little too much, and in some cases it can look a little ashy on me. But if I'm using brighter colors or certain rich mattes, this is really good to really get that color payoff. You do have to be careful that, because a little goes a long way. You don't want to squeeze too much out, so just be mindful of that when you're using this eye primer. And of course, this is not the only thing that you can use to really get the colors to show up. You can use, for years, people were using the jumbo white pencil from NYX. NYX, I think, also has like a eyeshadow base that's similar to this that you can use to get those colors to show up. And if you're, not looking for the maximum color payoff, your regular eyeshadow primer will do just fine in making sure that your eyeshadow stays in place and doesn't crease or fade. Now, I have no idea what I want to do with my eyes with this palette because there's just like so many colors. You know what? Well, let's start with some swatches. Maybe that'll help me. And as I've just finished watching this, I realized that, oh, you big dummy. Swipe them on this side. Alright, well, since I've already swatched it, I'll swatch the rest of them on the other side. Okay, so that is the first 2 rows. Very pretty. The colors feel really nice and smooth. Okay, here's the next 2 rows. Don't ask me why I started all the way down here. There is no rhyme or reason to anything that I do. So that is the next 2 rows, and then I'll do the last row here. And even in swatching, I still don't know what I want to do with my looks. I think I'm going to go on my Pinterest or on my saved images on my Instagram and see if there's any inspo that I can pull up from there. I liken this palette to like when you walk into Forever 21 and it's just like too many choices and then you walk out. Or if you're like me, I just head straight to the earrings because clearly I love Forever 21 earrings. Alright, alright. First impressions just based off of these. These are beautiful colors. There are a lot of them. Alright, so let's do a few comparisons. Okay, so the Jackie Aina palette, which I have used. Now the purples that are in here, like Shookington, and let me go let this damn cat in. There isn't really anything that looks like Shookington. So let's go Big Wig. And then I'm gonna compare Big Wig to the other purples in the Norvina palette. Yeah, so this is Big Wig, and then these are the purples that are in a Norvina palette. Aren't a ton of neutrals. Yeah, they're not, this is just not similar. Like, you'd really have to be like, let's look at edges. And then these 2 shades. Not similar at all. Let's do the gold shades. And as you can see, these colors are like, they're there to stay. A couple of those might be the ones that weren't intended for use around the immediate eye area because they stain. So, if you got sensitive eyes. So this is Soleil, Zinnium, Dwellers. And then there's nothing like trust issues in here, so I won't even swatch trust issues. And this is from Norvina. Yeah, those are the only... This is not even a gold, but I'll just swatch it anyway. So these 3 are from the Jackie palette. Are there 3 there? Yeah. These 3 from the Jackie palette, and then those 3 are from the Norvina palette. I feel like they're not very similar, but for some people, who aren't really, splitting hairs like that, like, eh. Okay, so definitely no dupes from the Jackie Aina palette. Now let's look at Alyssa Edwards. Look at Texas Made. And then this A5 shade. I would say those are pretty similar. Obviously there's differences in the 2 colors, but they're similar-ish. This purple from Alyssa Edwards. I don't think there is a purple similar to that. Oh, well, this one's pretty similar. So that's the Believe shade from Alyssa Edwards, and then these are the purples from the Norvina. I feel like these 2 right here are similar-ish. I mean, obviously you can see the differences in the colors, but they're somewhat similar. Unicorn Tribe. Might be similar to this one. And then it's like, it's similar, but it's not, you know? Then there's the black. So, Beast. Well, I would say that the black in the Norvina is way more pigmented than Beast. Yeah, even when I put another layer, it's more pigmented. Are there any other colors that are similar? Dream It. I don't think this is. They don't look similar to me. So here's Dream It. And then there's D4. I feel like on average, from what I've just been touching, I feel like the Norvina palette is more pigmented than the Alyssa Edwards palette. Then we have the Riviera palette. I don't really see, let's see, this Mediterranean. And then D2. Those are similar-ish, but obviously this one's darker. Bahamas, and then A5. Ooh, this one was way more, the one in the Norvina palette was way more buttery, like, ooh. Here's Can. Let's see, B4. Ooh. Yeah, the shades in the Norvina palette are way more buttery. Way more buttery, butterier. They're super they like butter. What else is similar? Maybe this mustard looking shade, Cabana. And E3. Ooh, the butteriness of it all. Those are similar, pretty similar, but you know, obviously this one's darker, or however that's showing up in the camera. In person, they don't look that much. Like in person, these shades don't look that much off. On camera, it might look like a different story. I mean, you can see like the differences, but it's not like, you know, vast. Let's see, Palermo and C3. Did I do Inheritance? Let's do Inheritance and C2. Like those look very similar to me in person. Might come off a little differently on camera. So this is from Riviera, and that's from Norvina. There are a few shades that look a little similar-ish. Now, I don't have any other Anastasia palettes to compare it to, but I'm sure it's, you know, someone here on YouTube does, and you can, you know, go check them out. I would say that on average, like just from swatching these, that the Norvina palette, the shades in here felt smoother, more, you know, buttery. The color payoff was better on average in the Norvina palette versus those three. I decided on a look. I went through my save posts on Instagram and I found a gorgeous look by another one of my favorite makeup artists, Nikki Posley, who I've met in person on a number of occasions. And I just love him. Ah, I love you, Nikki Posley. Ah, you're not watching this video, but I still love you. Okay, so now I just started to just put this primer on. I'm going for Nikki Posley's beautiful purple smoky eye. Really, really, like it's got a lot of depth to it. So I'm going to start with, I'm gonna attempt to hold this palette. This thing, I hate holding heavy things. All right, I'll start with E3. Because I usually like to start with a matte beige. And that was the closest one to it. So this is just, we're not even gonna see the color on this really. I'm just using it as like a base shade. I'm gonna go in with C5 and we'll start going into the crease. Okay, that was a little darker than what I thought, but it's gonna work. We are gonna make it work. Yeah, these colors, the pigment is nice. Like you can pick up just like the smallest amount of product and have pigment. The MAC 296. So the first flat brush, The first flat brush was the 252. I went in on the crease with the 222 brush. Those are both MAC, and then this is the 296 from MAC. I'm just gonna, ooh, I like it. Go in and blend and diffuse that. I kind of want to go in with this shade, E5. I'm gonna, let's see what she's talking about. So I'm gonna use the 222 again. Just take a little tiny tap because these colors been showing out. Okay. Oh, I wish there was a chocolate brown in here. That's okay, I will use this black. So I'm gonna use another 252 brush, go in with D5. Just kind of. I'm trying to build it up kind of soft because it's easier to build up than it is to take away if you put too much. And the pigment on here, the pigment is kicking. This is some pigmentation. So you gotta be careful. I mean, well, you don't have to be careful if you like really pigmented colors, but if you're not trying to, you know, intentionally go in, you gotta do it soft. Blend with this 296. I may put a little bit more of this burgundy shade on top of the black just so it kind of like pokes through even more. But I'll probably do that after I lay down the purple. The colors blend very well. Great quality as to be expected. So I'm gonna go in with B4, which is the shade right there. Now it looks a little lighter in the pan than what comes out in real life. 252 brush. Gonna dab that down. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a purple. Woo! Yes. All right, Norvina. Norvina came to shit stuff now. Norvina was like, pacow. Yes, hoodie. That's a purple. I like that you don't even have to really go that hard to get the color to do its thing. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit more of C5. Just so that pokes through a little bit up there. Wow. And when you can put this color on top and it shows, like, that's some pigment right there. Blend. Look at that shadow. I don't know where my Laura Mercier smudger brush went to, but I need her to come back. Cause I need her back. Okay. What do I want to do on the bottom? Do I want purple on the bottom? Does he have purple on the bottom? It's got like black, and we are going to build up down here. I'll start with the C5. C5 again, to remind you, is that shade right there. Just take a little. I'm gonna do E5 because we're building this up. We want layered. We want build up. Okay, I'm gonna use the opposite end of the, the brush that comes with the Anastasia palettes. So we're gonna go in with the black D5. I'll put a little. I didn't see purple in her bottom waterline, but I'm gonna put some. Come here. Purple, and I'll probably go over it again with some black. So I'm gonna go off camera and put on liner, mascara, and lashes, and then we'll come back and talk more about this bomb palette. Tasha Denona Blush and Bloom palette. The lashes I'll have linked in the description box. Okay, and then for lip, I'm gonna use the Bronze Temptation Lust Gloss by Pat McGrath. Take off this lip oil. Alrighty, so let's talk about this palette. I personally wouldn't buy a palette like this because it's too big, it's too bulky. There's a lot of colors in here that I wouldn't use on a regular basis, so it wouldn't be of a great value to me. But this palette is bomb as hell. It's so bomb. The pigment, the colors feel very buttery. You're getting, I just said pigment, but it's worth repeating again in such a short time frame. Like the pigment on this, the color payoff is just mwah. Like, I love it. It's $60 for this palette. A regular Anastasia palette is $45. Your average Anastasia palette has 14 shades. This one has 25. There is no denying the type of quality and the care, and like I feel like there's a little love put in every single Anastasia palette. I feel like they sprinkle a little love in there too, so there's no denying that. This palette was created with the pro in mind, so a lot of the average consumer may not need a palette like this. But if you can justify using the shades that are in this palette, that you're going to use it, then it's going to make sense in your stash. Then, I mean, even if you can't justify it, who am I to tell you how to spend your coin? But me personally, I wouldn't buy something like this just because, like, it's, I like to hold up. It's I like to do this. I like to do this with a palette. This is too much for me, and I wouldn't want to put it down and then reach for it because it's like, look, I got a bad back. I ain't trying to be bending down over something, and I want to be here. Jackie, you did your thing with this palette once again. Congratulations. I want to be here with mine. Like, this is easy. I can be at, I don't have to bend down to go get it. Like, you know, I don't have to have like a whole high table set up just to work with this palette. But like I keep saying, this palette is bomb as heck. it's like Norvina put her drawers in this palette. It's amazing. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that I was properly describing the palette. So from the ABH site, it says the Norvina Pro Pigment Palette Volume 1. So we got some more volumes coming out probably. As a professional grade artistry palette featuring 25 deluxe sized high performance shades with maximum payoff, carefully curated by Norvina herself. Expand your Norvina collection with this limited edition Pro palette and create your most artistic makeup looks yet. Okay, so see, that's where they get you. It's a limited edition. So, you know, you're out there thinking like, let me get it now because I won't be able to get it again. I still wouldn't get this just because it's not practical in my particular routine. But as I said, maybe like the 4th or 5th time already in this video, this is a really bomb palette. But, you know, let me know in the comments. Would you get this palette? Would you pass on it? Let me know why you would pass or why you would get it. You know, get all chitty-chatty in the comments. You know how I like to be all chitty-chatty in the comments. Follow me on social. The links will be in the description box. Also in the description box, links to things like, you know, where my hair's from, the earrings, my foundation shades, and equivalents and other brands, and, you know, yada, 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 all that stuff. Other blog posts and videos you should probably check out. And I will see you fine folks in my next video. Bye, guys.